Welcome to Saturday Morning Chat. Nick and Trey, he's back. We're doing this 2 weeks in a row, which really shows you that we're turning the corner. We've never been this consistent with this show, and that's not an exaggeration. I don't think we've ever done this back-to-back weeks. So with Trey comes good habits, I guess. Trey, how we doing this week?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know that it was that inconsistent. I'm glad I can bring some consistency. I look forward to coming on here and having our Saturday morning chats.
Well, the Saturday morning chats recorded on Thursday evenings. Yes.
I didn't realize that last week I called it out. This week I was like, all right, we'll just not say that we're doing it on Thursday, so everybody thinks we're doing it Saturday. But all right.
I think it's a good gag. To be honest with you, I think it's a good gag. But thanks for stopping by. Trey's got to fly out here pretty soon, so we're gonna try and speed through this, but keep it with our normal banter, of course.
Yeah, don't need to rush.
Trey, what do you want to get into to start us off this week?
Well, storylines. I mean, I can't look past this whole. I know we've been talking about it. The whole Dolphins situation with the ping pong table.
Oh yes, this is new.
That's pretty funny. And then I don't know. Last I had heard, it was just, we took it away. They need to focus on winning now. And I don't know if this is true, but it's from NFL on CBS. Tyreek Hill says the reason the table was removed was because it was bent and they're ordering a new custom designed one. So I thought that was pretty funny.
It was. I enjoyed it because I literally watched the video last night of Mike McDaniel talking about like how mature it was and how, it was a really great move from the veterans on the team to come in and remove a distraction like a ping pong table. And everyone's like, well, Tyreek Hill was streaming Fortnite yesterday. So like, what do you mean they're getting rid of distractions? And then today, like you said, it comes out that Tyreek Hill's like, nah, we were just we're getting a new custom made one actually.
Well, I mean, I can't decide my thoughts on Mike McDaniel here because I thought I liked him, but like that's the kind of stuff that brings a team together, in my opinion. I've played high school ball and a little bit of college, not much, but like shit like a ping pong table or something stupid like that is actually something that'll help a team out. So I don't think that's necessarily distracting anybody. I mean, when you're on the field practicing, you're practicing.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, what's that culture kind of like? Those, I don't know if distraction, as you said, might not even be the right term for it, but I feel like those things, like that's a good way to ease tension maybe if things are building up after a rough loss. And obviously they've had 2 quarterbacks go down the last 2 weeks. So like there's probably a lot of animosity there and stress going on. So I didn't know, like, that can't be that much of a distraction, could it?
Yeah, I don't think it's a distraction at all. And quite honestly, when I played football in high school, I mean, we would go to a camp and we'd have 3-a-days, which absolutely sucked. But the thing that kind of always ended up bringing us together wasn't necessarily going through hell together. It was, in between practices, playing cornhole or playing dice or playing cards of some sort, or playing pranks, whatever that may be. So I think like little games like that is actually kind of good for team. I guess if you're not feeling like a team at this point in the season, though, as the Dolphins, I guess maybe that's not a good thing. And I don't know if the ping pong table is going to help, but yeah, I think those things are crucial to a team.
Keeps a competitive edge up too,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and these guys are in the NFL, so they all have a competitive edge. And I'm curious as to how good Tyreek Hill is at that, and who's the king of ping pong over at the Dolphins. I know it's not Tua.
Wow. Tua's seeing 4 of the ball right now, unfortunately. So,
exactly.
Not like that's a funny situation. But
not at all.
That's a good question too. Who is the king in Miami in terms of the ping pong game? It's probably McDaniel.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna see it. We're gonna see McDaniel on Tyreek Hill's story here in like 2 weeks.
like Balls of Fury. They're playing on a bridge as it's falling or whatever. I can't remember that movie now. That movie was a fever dream to begin with.
Yeah, it is.
I am glad you brought up the Dolphins to begin with, though, because we saw some really questionable calls on quarterbacks this week. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, which was the complete wrong way of taking it. I'll preempt this with that. We saw a lot of people on social media going, well, this is what you wanted. You wanted them to hold people accountable for when Tua got hurt. So have fun with these kind of calls. And I'm like, that's not the right correlation to be making.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely wrong. I think this is an overreaction to the Tua injury. I do. I think it is, but I don't think that necessarily applies to these situations at all. Like the whole, I can't remember what's called, like ataxia or something that they added to the concussion protocol in the NFL. Like if you're you know not able to walk, that's different than like getting strip sacked and getting up afterwards and fighting with the ref.
Right.
So I don't know.
In Tua's case, the first one, he got up and started wobbling around, as you said. There's a big difference, and you can tell. You can tell when someone's been really rattled. Except for maybe that one Josh Allen play in the Steelers game where they like Tony Romo pointed out, like, it looks like he whacks his head here, and he was like up the next play. But in most cases, it's pretty obvious when someone gets dinged up from a concussion standpoint.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was to say, and even like the second hit on Tua wasn't even a roughing the passer, and I don't think anybody was it. I don't think
I don't think a penalty was called. No,
a penalty wasn't called, and I would argue that's not necessarily roughing the passer. That the players on defense have no control over whether the quarterback slams his head off the ground or not. It's whether he slams his head into his head or he lands on him with his full body weight. And that's the difference in these situations, I think. And I just don't think they correlate at all either. I agree with you, Nick.
I think it's more of a, we don't need to prevent the defensive players from doing things. I think it's more of a, we have to follow our own guidelines in terms of following up when we see hits happen.
Right.
I don't think making quarterback, this isn't a word, untackleable or unsackable is the right way to go about it. I think it's more of the NFL holding itself accountable and going, oh, that was a weird way he just hit his head off the field there. We need to remove him from the game for a bit and not half-ass the evaluation so he can get back in there, because we need him in to run the 2-minute drill and get that good rating going into the 4:00 games or something, you know?
Right. I agree. Yeah.
The hits obviously in question are the Tom Brady call that completely iced the game basically for the Bucks, and then the hit on Derek Carr, which that one at least was kind of understandable because it looked like whoever was tackling him, I haven't watched these basically since Monday, maybe Tuesday. It looked like when Carr got hit, he shifted his body weight to like completely land on him. And I know that's been a thing that's been established before, the body weight argument. Maybe I'm not a huge fan of that one, but at least I can kind of see maybe why they threw the flag on that one.
Yeah, I don't agree with the call, but I think to your point, they had something they could fall back on, whereas with the Tom Brady one, they didn't necessarily have anything they could fall back on. With that one, like for the one against Derek Carr, as you were saying, I think he did. I mean, he did brace his fall. If you look, you see him put his hand down, but the ref could say, oh, he, put his full body weight on him. Whereas the other hit, I don't necessarily, there was nothing for him to point to in that, the referee at the time, to be like, oh, this is the rule that he broke. Like, that's the difference there. I don't agree with either call, but I agree with you that, Derek Carr's call was able to be pointed out a lot easier.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's what I was trying to get at there too, basically, is I don't think either of them warranted a flag, but in the case of Derek Carr, they had something in the foundation of their rule book that was like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess this is what we're going to fall back on when everyone complains about us on Twitter.
Yeah, unless they still have that in the rule book, like anything that happens to Tom Brady that's remotely questionable, we're calling. So, and I like Tom Brady, but man, they used to put a flag on him at this point because he and you're not going to convince me that he didn't get up and jaw a little bit and convince that call. And I once again, I hated him for like 20 minutes. I was like, oh, that's such a Tom Brady got the call. And then he gets up there and he's like, I don't throw the flags. I just throw tablets. It's like, okay, you're a pretty funny guy. I like you again. So
I'm glad Tom Brady got those calls because Kenny Pickett didn't while your Bills were taking cheap shots at him up 35. Just kidding. Just kidding. Partially. Wow. GIFs don't usually piss me off, but that GIF really pissed. I'm not saying the Steelers are angels, okay? I'm well aware. Minka Fitzpatrick's running his mouth after every play, and he played with fire that whole Cincinnati game week 1. But I don't know. The one hit to Pickett's leg. The slide, at least you can make the argument, but I thought the one at his legs towards the end of the game, I thought that one was kind of hard to defend.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to defend it. I'm going to completely flip the script here and say, I think you guys got a good one in Kenny Pickett. I think if I'm you guys, and I know you're worried about his leg, and you should be, but the fact that his leg, nothing happened, nothing was wrong, he didn't get injured, and he got up, started jawing, and did his thing against a defensive lineman. Yeah, maybe it was a dumb thing, but it also kind of shows Steelers fans like this guy's here to play. This guy's a competitor. If it were Josh Allen in his rookie year and that happened to him and he started John like that, I know I'd be pretty pumped. So I think you guys get a good one.
Oh, I do too. I think he showed more fight than a lot of veterans that the Steelers had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really good to see in your rookie quarterback who's playing one of the best teams in the league in his first official start.
Yeah, I mean, he was just set up for failure.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that was the right environment. I don't want to harper on this game too long because I'd like to put it in the past and watch Tom Brady beat us like he normally does.
Hey,
but
we could talk about this for as long as you want.
the only thing that made no sense to me was they had a nice little groove on the first drive, and then I think he threw it 3 total times the next 3 drives.
Yeah.
And I was like, how is he getting into any sort of rhythm? And then you guys had Poyer out, and then I can't remember exactly who else was out, but I know your secondary was a little stripped thin, and they never really attacked it that much.
Yeah, we didn't have a single starter in at any point yesterday. So both of our corners, we've had one of our corners has started before, but he's not necessarily our starter. So both of our corners and both of our safeties are technically backups. You could argue that one of them is a starter this year because Micah Hyde's out. But yeah, you guys didn't attack. That game had nothing to do on Kenny Pickett and everything to do with your OC. And I think I don't know. I just didn't think the Steelers offense played horrible. It just was set up for failure.
That's fair. Fair. I don't even have thoughts organized on the team right now. I called them. I didn't want to stay the Steelers. I don't know why, but the team came out. But Twitter's a cesspool right now. Again, this is going to sound like the most arrogant Steelers thing ever, but it's also partially true. They're always good. They're always at least somewhere in the 500 realm for basically my entire life. And now they're going to be crap this year. Like, I don't see this season being salvageable. And everyone is losing their collective minds because none of them know how to handle losing, because that's not the culture that Pittsburgh Steeler football is associated with.
Yeah, you guys got spoiled. And I have a funny story because I was actually at the Bills Steelers game, and we were tailgating, and a couple Steelers fans pulled up next to us, and I'm with my Steeler fan friends, and and me and my buddy who's a Bills fan looks at the Steelers fans who just got out. One of them's like a little 5-year-old kid. And my buddy just looks at me and goes, man, I feel bad for him. He's about to grow up with what we grow up with.
Wow. That's good.
So, yeah, flip the script a little bit and get a taste of what we've had to deal with for 17 years. And maybe you guys don't have that long, hopefully, but
I'd hope not.
yeah, we'll see.
But I forgot you were at the game. I need to know: were there any Steelers fans running their mouths, or was there any jaw jacking in the stands long
Well,
after the game was decided?
actually, funny you ask. The only jawing I saw was between Steelers fans. We saw during the slide when Kenny Pickett slid and they didn't call the penalty. There were two drunk Steelers fans behind us, and then one of my friends who's a Steelers fan was next to me, and they were all mad and they were all pissed off. And my friend turns around, it's like, it wasn't a penalty. And they were like, put on a Bills jersey. You're not a Bills fan, all this stuff. So that's the only really jawing I saw. So
that's a good story, though.
Yeah.
Friendly fire.
Yeah, it was all Steelers fans. I mean, tensions were high in Pittsburgh, or as a Pittsburgh fan the other day. So
we'll move from last weekend into this upcoming weekend with our games to watch. Last weekend slate was pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I agree. And games we're excited to watch, you said, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to take the obvious one, but we're gonna take the obvious one. Nick, what am I gonna say?
You're gonna say the Bills and Chiefs, I'm assuming.
I mean, that's the game of the year, am I right? I mean, that's gonna be it's Peyton Manning and Tom Brady 2.0. I'm super, super pumped to watch that one. Even if I'm not a Bills fan, even if I'm you, I'm pumped to watch that one. That's going to be a shootout. I think you're taking the over at whatever they have the number at. And it's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I'll get into this game. Actually, what you just said is one of my bets this weekend, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, you say even though if you're not a Bills or Chiefs fan, like you want to watch the game, you're not a football fan if you're not excited to watch this game. That or you're like a 1960s football fan who likes when the score was like 6-3 or something, and you hate offensive bursts. But no, this is going to be a great game. We're probably going to get 400 emotional video packages of the overtime fiasco 13-second thing last year. So I'm sorry you're going to have to relive that. But anyway, I can't wait to see what dramatic video packages and how much that's brought up. But hopefully we don't have to hear about it too much after pregame's over and we can just enjoy the shootout that we should see. I'm fairly confident in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm excited.
Then I'm going to steal a theme that you brought up last week. Cooper Rush in Dallas at the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a good game. I'm excited to see all these Dallas fans. I'm seeing them trash talking the Eagles, saying Jalen Hurts isn't as good of a quarterback as he is presenting himself to be, that their rushing game is the reason they're good, all these other things. And there's a lot of trash talk going on Twitter, as you'd expect. And I'm really excited to see what Cooper Rush can do here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And the only, once again, we're not sitting here thinking this is going to be a good game because the Dallas offense is going to be out of this world. It's because of that Cowboys defense and how good they are. So I'm excited to watch that one too. Anytime I can watch Micah Parsons play football, I'm pretty excited. So I think this is probably the first year I've actually been excited to watch a Cowboys game. So
wow.
Yeah,
that's whatever one where the Packers beat them in the playoffs, probably like 5 years ago now. That one was I was excited to watch that one because I thought the Packers were going to dismantle them.
Well, I guess what I mean is like I'm kind of rooting for Micah Parsons to get in there and disrupt some stuff. I'm not usually rooting for the Cowboys, but shift not away from football, but from the NFL. Penn State, Michigan this week in college football.
I thought this was a safe one to pick for my other one. But that was my second one too.
My three were Bills, Chiefs, Cowboys, Eagles, and Penn State, Michigan. So I think we were on the same page here.
Look at all the overlap we got here.
Yeah, I like this game a lot because it has playoff implications to the max. If Penn State loses, not that they can't get back in by beating Ohio State, but they're not beating Ohio State. So Penn State loses to Michigan. They beat Minnesota. They lose to Ohio State. They're out. They beat Michigan. They lose to Ohio State in a relatively good game. They still might be in depending on what goes on around the league. Same with Michigan. So that's why I'm pretty excited to watch this game.
Yeah, in college, it doesn't matter. It's when the loss takes place that matters. So
It's when and how.
which is kind of stupid, unfortunately, but that's how it's got to be, I guess, until this 12-team expanded thing starts and whatever that's going to happen. But no, I haven't watched a ton of college football this year. As a lot of people know, I worked weekends for like a year, so now I just do things on Saturday, but Sundays for NFL football. That remains this constant. But no, I'm definitely gonna make sure I can watch this one. I love Big Ten football. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I don't know what a good conference matchup is like, unfortunately. But anytime these two Big Ten heavyweights get together, whether it be Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and when Michigan State's good, obviously they've been ranked or nearly ranked the last couple of years, but they're not as good as they were back in the Connor Cook era. But any of those big teams, Wisconsin will throw them in there too. Big Cat Barstool, love you. He doesn't know who I am. I don't know why I even needed to do that. But you love watching these Big Ten games, whether it's a powerhouse matchup like this one, or if it's Iowa and Nebraska playing at noon and they're both out of the running for anything relevant. Big Ten football is just fun football to watch for me. So whenever there is a game with implications, as you brought up, whenever there is a Big Ten game that has some really good talent in there, whenever there is a Big Ten game with a redheaded quarterback and Sean Clifford, I'm going to watch that. So it's easy to see why this is, I think, is both of our games to watch.
Yeah, Sean Clifford, man. He's as a Penn State fan, you got a love-hate relationship with him, right? I mean, he's been around for so long that you gotta kind of like him because he's made some good plays. He's won some close games for you. So like you're like, oh, Sean Clifford, but also could go the other way. He's been around forever. What does that mean? It's not good enough to go anywhere else. So you kind of got a love-hate relationship with him, as I do. But the one thing I do love about him is his red hair, Nick. So
thank you. My people. Sean Clifford really reminds me of JT Barrett, where I felt like for a decade, every time I put on an Ohio State game, JT Barrett was there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to be, it's going to sound weird. I used to be an Ohio State fan. And yeah, I agree with you. I used to love watching JT Barrett out there, and then the next year, and then the next year, and then the next year. And yeah.
All right. So I think that brings us to our bets for the weekend. And I'm going to start off. We'll start with the one that people already know. I'll start with Bills and Chiefs over 54. Listen, man, I got to go with the over. That's an aggressive over to take, but I think both my bets are kind of aggressive now that I'm looking at them written down here. But I think this lives up to the hype, as we alluded to earlier. I think this is a shootout in every sense. Get ready to play it back when it ends 15-10. That's not really a feasible football score, but I think the over 54 hits here.
Yeah, I think over 54 hits easily, and I think you could even, like, dare I say, like, add some to that, over 60, like something crazy like that. I would not be surprised at all if that were the case. And then my bet, I'll come back to the Bills Chiefs game. We'll step away from that, and we're going to give your Steelers some love. I think Pickens anytime touchdown score this week. I really liked the way Pickens and Pickett had a little relationship, little something there against the Bills, and unfortunately they just couldn't get into the end zone. But I think Pickett's going to throw the ball a little bit more. The Buccaneers have a good defense, but they're not the Bills. They're going to score this week. There's no way they to go 2 weeks without scoring. I'm taking Pickens anytime touchdown score this week for, I believe, his first touchdown of the NFL career. I'm taking that this week.
I just keep getting PTSD from this damn Bills Steelers game.
I know. I was like, oh, I'm going to bring it up later again anyway. This has kind of been I don't know if it's because of me or if it's because it's Bills Chief Week, but it's been kind of a Bills themed chat here this morning.
Well, they're a powerhouse now, so we got to talk about them. The last thing from that Steelers game, just the announcers, 20-mile-an-hour winds. Like, it is windy, man. You do not want to kick. You're down 21 points in the second quarter, inside the 10-yard line. I think at least they were in the red zone. And Mike Tomlin's like, let's kick a field goal, damn it. And he misses. And then he missed another one. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, not great coaching. Definitely got out-coached and outplayed.
My second bet, I said we're putting that in the past. We're done. Don't you dare bring up Bills Steelers again. I'm going to get aggressive again. Maybe not aggressive. Maybe it's a safe bet. I got Giants +6 against Baltimore. Giants just beat Aaron Rodgers. Saquon's looked good. He's been healthy. Danny Dimes starting to maybe show that he could be a trusted quarterback of the future. I woke up at 9:30 on a Sunday to watch a London game. That's the first time I've woken up. I've, naturally woken up and been like, oh, it's in the third quarter. I'll start watching now. That's the first time I've woken up and meant to watch a London game and possibly ever. I buy into hype pretty easily in terms of sports. Maybe it's a fault of mine, but I'm going to buy into the Giants hype right now. I think they cover against a very talented Baltimore team.
Yeah, and I have two more bets. I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to go with here. I'm going to take Josh Allen rushing touchdown. These are prop bets, both of mine.
Does he have a rushing? I want to say he has one, but I might be wrong.
He's got to. Wow, I'd be crazy if he didn't. And if he doesn't, it's coming this weekend. So I got Josh Allen rushing touchdown. I think with Bills Chiefs, he's going to be a little less, even though he's not conservative usually anyway. He's going to have a little bit more heart, a little bit harder running, a little bit taking things into his own hands when it comes down to the red zone. So I think we're going to see Josh Allen get into the end zone on his feet this weekend.
I'd like that from a fantasy team perspective. So hell yeah.
I love your fantasy team.
I thought you would, solely because of two people that are on it. But when they're on bye next week, we're going to be in some trouble. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Trey, you got a final thought for the week?
Final thought. Can I do another bet?
Yeah, go right ahead. Tell me why this bet's going to hit.
This bet, and this is probably the first time I've ever betting on the Jets. I'm betting on the Jets to cover in at Green Bay 7.5. I think the Jets actually they look decent this year. I'm not going to say they look good because they don't, but they look like a football team.
Their fourth quarters have been really good. I saw some stat that I'm not even going to guess the numbers, but it was an insane point differential, versus their opponents in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So I like them, and the Packers, they don't look like the Packers, unfortunately, unless they change up the game plan and really just start pounding it with Aaron Jones. I think the Jets cover here at 7.5. I would be hard pressed to pick them money line, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I do too. Maybe both New York teams have a little something going on down there.
Yeah,
up there, I guess they are above us, but
yeah. Well, the only New York team is Buffalo Bills, but
sorry, I meant New York. Well, that's not even true. I don't think they're both technically in New York, but anyway, I didn't mean
you get a final thought this week. I had the final thought last week.
I've never seen character assassination faster than Phil Mickelson. The whole Live Golf controversy from last year when he made some pretty interesting comments. This is all coming like 2 years. I can't remember, 2-3 years after he won a tournament and the place was going bananas and running all over the fairway, like screaming that Phil had won again.
Yeah.
And then the Phil Tiger debate, like, oh, what one was more impactful? But now he's doubling down and saying like PGA's the thing of the past. For the last 30 years or whatever, they've been dominant, but now it's our turn. The best players in the world want to be here. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. You're a glorified exhibition league, and it's going to take a lot of convincing for me to not believe in that statement.
Yeah.
My
Yeah. No.
statement, not Phil's statement. The statement I just made, the glorified exhibition thing.
Yeah.
I love
Care.
golf, so like I'll tune in to Live once in a while because it's
Mhm.
on YouTube, and it's like, oh, like I wonder if Dustin Johnson's even trying because he's making 200 something $1 million. And I like Cam Smith, so like got to see what Cam Smith's doing. But it's not the same. It's not the same. I've talked about this on other stuff before, but it's like there's no prestige and there's no history. Maybe you can say, well, they're starting to make their own, but it's like I don't think it's there for the right reasons. But that's here
Don't,
nor there.
don't disagree with you. I think
Long live the SSGA.
I think the only person that could give Phil a run for his money is Devontae Adams this week. But
Oh
yeah,
boy.
yeah,
Oh boy.
poor guy.
You see that one tweet of like him running into a cameraman or somebody on the sideline in Green Bay and it helps him up. And
Putting
then
his
it's
hat
like,
on, and you know what? I get it. If I were probably in the cameraman's shoes, I'd probably be pressing charges too because I could win a whole bucket load of money off of that.
completely switching
But
tone from last week with the Bobby Wagner.
but I do feel a little bad for Devontae Adams because I think he is genuinely a good guy and he was upset. And not that I excuses his actions by any means, but you know he apologized, and I just think I feel a little bad for him.
Damn it, Trey. I'm thinking of the Steelers game again. Solely because a lot of times now in professional sports, grant I've been nowhere near that level, so like maybe this is wrong messenger, but it's like, how am I as a fan supposed to take it when I see us getting blown out or something? And then the players on the team are like laughing with the other team standing on the field after the game. It's like, I'd be pissed. I
Yeah,
lose in driveway basketball and I get pissed off. These
right.
guys are, superb athletes, world class athletes, and they're laughing it up after getting embarrassed on national television. I don't like it, but so I can understand, and I like to see that Devonte Adams is pissed off. But obviously, the way it happened was the wrong way to channel that anger.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because he just it was wrong place, wrong time. I mean, if you look at it from a certain angle, like he literally didn't see him until he was like right in front of him. And it does once again, I cannot stress enough, it doesn't excuse the actions. Um, but I agree with you. I like to see some guys get pissed off, which is why I said I like. Oh, let's bring it back to the Bills Steelers game, which is why I like to see Kenny Pickett do what he did. I think it's a little classless at times if you do it too much, but if you do it every now and then, especially when you're losing, just kind of shows you got a little bit of edge to you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And well, I was getting upset because I immediately started thinking of how Arthur Millette called out the Steelers for joking around and stuff in the locker room and elsewhere. But
yeah,
we're done. The show is over.
that
Trey,
was a final thought. It's over.
yeah, about live golf that got translated back to Steelers Bills content. But Trey, always a pleasure. Have a safe flight, and we'll see you next week, folks.